Hello. The New Year resolutions didn't last particularly long after the bells, and now there are a couple of Premiership managers. What a start to 2026. Wilfred Nancy and Jimmy Tilleen packed their bags, but you'll be glad to know that we are still hanging on to our gigs. Gav, welcome to Game On. I'm Michael Gannon, this is Gavin Berry. Welcome to a weekly hot take rapid fire podcast on the Daily Record. New year, a new view here, Gav. We've kind of changed the way we've gone a bit. Remember the old Smith and Jones?
Yeah.
One for the older viewers and listeners back in the day. I'm not sure I like this.
Is it more slimming? That's all I care about.
Well,
And I invested in all these black polo shirts.
well,
Black's meant to be slimming. I'm not sure it's
I've only had
very
I've
flattering.
only had 9 days in the diet, and
I'm
it's a
not
bit
sure.
too early for this kind of change of view. I think give it another few months of Fat Club 26. But it's
You're
we'll muddle on
saying a
back.
new year. We were here last week, Mike. You're a slacker.
Well, some of us
We
are a
were
bit.
here last week.
I don't count.
We kicked off.
My New Year starts on January the 5th. The first Monday of the New Year. I start. I don't count it. But listen, there's been my goodness, what a start to the year. There's been plenty happening.
Yeah.
So let's get stuck right into it. We'll have to start with a turbulent, tumultuous week at Celtic. Wilfred Nancy is no more. We even had Sir Rod Stewart doing a dance to the pub to celebrate. What do you make of Sir Rod's behaviour and the Nancy departure in general?
Well, to be honest, Michael, last Friday we spoke about whether Nancy would survive an Old Firm defeat. Myself and Fraser Wilson were, I think, pretty much in agreement that it was over for him regardless. It was just a case of when and not if. So I'm not surprised in the slightest. I used to love Rod Stewart, but I thought watching that video was cringeworthy. I mean, it was crass. Celebrate a man losing his job in that manner. We know Rod's got a passion for Celtic. He tells us often enough, but to celebrate in that way, I'm not sure.
Listen,
although
you got to think the human element. I think you've got to take into account. The guy's moved from America with his family. He's only had 5 weeks, and he's packing his bags and going again. So you think yes. However, 5 weeks work. He's made a few quid in that 5 weeks. He'll walk away with a nice little check.
Not bad.
So I mean, for all I think it's a shame. It's also let's not be shedding too many tears. Listen, I won't be slagging off Rod Stewart in any capacity. I'm a big Rod Stewart fan. I'm going to see him a few times through the years. In fact, I do remember one time watched him at the SECC many years ago, and we were in the standing section, and he was given the full back catalogue. And there's a woman in front of us on her husband's shoulders, and this woman was not a small lady, I must admit. Next thing you know, sure enough, the old cliche, the bra comes off and she throws the bra onto the stage. Meanwhile,
where are you going with this?
Meanwhile, I thought she got a black eye when she started giving it dancing out. But it's one of the group kicked it back out of the crowd. So I got a nice little souvenir from the concert. So that was nice. It kept me warm getting up the road. It was that big.
Right. I thought you used to boot footballs into the crowd. I thought that's what they kept.
Listen, well, this bracket we used for some of the Celtic fans to put over their eyes the way it's been going the last few weeks.
But in actual fact,
so I'm not slagging off Rod.
But listen, I mean, obviously there was a humorous side if you found that funny. But and then he's pleading with Martin O'Neill to come back. Not exactly Nostradamus. I think a lot of us thought that would happen, but then he was going on to say about Robbie Keane, didn't he? So that was a more serious, because I mean, we've heard sort of whispers this week of Robbie Keane and possibly Damien Duff alongside him. I just wondered, does he know somebody's in that?
Well,
he's in that director's box every week.
He's got his ear to the ground. But we'll get to the Celtic manager
yes.
picture in a wee second. The big story this week, potentially, is the return. Listen, as Celtic do, they like to go back. Sometimes they went back for Kieran Tierney replaced Kieran Tierney, Jota replaced Jota, Brendan Rodgers replaced Brendan Rodgers, Martin O'Neill replaced Martin O'Neill. Now there's talk that Kyogo could be the final replacement for Kyogo. Do you see this as a good move for everyone concerned?
It's wild, Michael. I mean, if you ask yourself this, just take the name Kyogo and the nostalgia out of the equation. And if you were to tell Celtic fans that they were going for a striker who scored once in 31 games, what would they say? They'd be up in arms.
Yes.
No? Yeah.
In isolation, but that's not the case though.
No.
That's hypothetical.
No, but I'm just asking you that, to kick off. They'd be going mental. The Kyogo factor, I think, changes things slightly, but I don't think. Look,
he's scored 80 odd goals in 160 games for Celtic.
But this is it. It sums up where Celtic are at this moment in time. Everything is interim manager, interim striker. Everything's about just getting
Yeah.
through to the summer. So I don't necessarily think it's right. I think it could be right now.
Celtic need a striker, and he's a striker.
Yeah.
He's proven that he can score goals in Scotland. Albeit, I thought towards the end of his time at Celtic, I think
Well, he
tailed
was.
off.
That's what I'm saying. He was dipping.
Listen, I take.
And he wanted out. The other thing is he wanted out.
Yeah.
And the other factor here is they're having to try and convince him.
Well,
so
he
was a player who was on the dip.
Yeah.
They got good money for him, and now they're having to convince him to come back.
Yeah. I mean, I think he didn't. I didn't think he was particularly. I'm not saying he didn't settle in Glasgow. I don't think he was particularly happy in Glasgow after 3 years. I wanted to change. But he goes to Rennes, which is probably the top 25 towns in France. That's probably number 26, right? It's not exactly the top tourist trail in France. Then he goes to Birmingham. Like, you should get yourself back up to Glasgow. I just think certainly the striker, and he would fit the bill. But it is, I think, I take your point. It's basically admitting. It's a club admitting that their recruitment has failed completely. Because if you're having to go back to the guy 12 months on who left to replace the same guy, because they haven't replaced him.
Yeah.
It's a kind of admission that the recruitment side of the things have completely collapsed. I mean, Paul Tisdale's lost his job, and now you can see why. Because what has he been doing for a year? Why wasn't there a striker brought in January the 1st?
Yeah.
I think still they can get another striker. I think they need two. They get another striker and maybe add Kyogo on loan. I think, that's two options would be good. But to go and do that as a main striker in January, I think it's an admission of failure.
Yeah, but the other factor here, Michael, which takes us on to our next question, is that Martin O'Neill has admitted he won't be in charge. You know, he's adamant he won't be in charge beyond this season. So, you can't go and spend huge money on a striker, then a new manager comes in the summer and doesn't fancy him. So that's what I'm saying. Everything's short-term basis.
Yeah.
But who should be in charge, you think, for the start of next season? Do you agree with Hot Rod?
Do you know what? I don't think he's a discount. I think he's done a lot, and he's kind of early in his career. Looks as though he's on a trajectory that I think is quite impressive. Totally. I think he looks like a manager on the up.
Some fans are against him because he worked in Israel. I've noticed that when he was linked before, they were against that. I know he got a lot of backlash in Ireland.
He did. Because
I
think, listen, we don't want to be. We're not. This is not. We're not. It's not the rest is politics here in this show. But listen, if everybody had to analyse where they worked and who they worked for, are you telling me that everyone can say that their employers or their country they work in or whatever is completely virtuous?
Yeah.
No, give me peace, right?
Okay.
Okay. So I think.
So let's talk about him as a manager.
People need to get over. I mean, Robbie Keane wasn't out marching the street, protesting and all that.
Yeah.
He wasn't political. He was there doing a job. A guy doing a job in a country. All right, get involved in a situation that wasn't. Is he going to quit his work and he's got the road?
And he did speak about it and said he had to be loyal to. He'd taken members of coaching staff over there who committed to him. He felt loyal to them, and he did leave at the end of the season. But anyway, sorry, I've taken you down.
We didn't want to go.
You didn't want to go there. Sorry. So Robbie Keane as a manager, I think
he's a manager who looks as though he's on a career trajectory. I think this looks like an ideal starting point at Celtic. If he goes there and does all right, he would be in Premier League in England. I know there's been some talk about Roberto Martinez. We also got the Maloney link, and he's having a job in just now.
But that makes a lot of sense now, doesn't it? Now you think, I mean, the odds plummeted, and I know now and again, you can't look too much into that, but he was obviously at Fir Park, although...
His wife's wishy.
Right, okay, so you're going to... but I mean, he's out of contract in the summer. He was linked for the job way back in 2009.
Because of this.
There's the Maloney link, obviously the World Cup in the summer... the timing could be a factor depending on how far they went in the tournament. However, the Maloney factor makes sense because he could get it up and running, to get it back to pre-season, get them going. So it's interesting. You think Martinez in you? I
think it'd be an interesting one. I think Celtic need to do something. But I think what Celtic need to do is get their house in order. They need to get an interim chairman, no director of football, an interim manager. They need to get their house in order and really get themselves into some sort of modern kind of structure. And I think the manager is a part of it.
Yeah.
But an exciting appointment could be the next step. But so they're facing a major rebuild, and the manager is a cog in the wheel. But
in a word, Martinez or Keane?
I think Martinez would be interesting.
Yeah.
I think it would be interesting.
Okay.
But listen, it's we're still in that's down the line. We're still in the thick of January.
Yeah.
They're starting to see some moves getting made. Finally, it was quite quiet for some of the clubs, especially Celtic and Rangers. Rangers.
They were waiting for you to come back.
Well, that's it. I told you January the 5th. The window that opens when Fat Club opens. Rangers making a couple of moves this weekend. look, what do you make of these guys, and what do you think they still need if they want to get over the line and get this title?
Well, listen,
They're back in the race, aren't they?
Well, you don't need to ask me, because Andrew Kavanagh spoke Met fans, and his quotes were leaked out, and it's quite actually refreshing to see that he is being so open and transparent. And that's the kind of transparency the Celtic fans have demanded. He actually went as far as to say, well, it looks as if Rangers have got the left back and the midfielder. They're on their way. That was two positions we pretty much knew they would want. And then in his words, he says they're looking for creation and scoring of goals. So I think Chermiti has changed a lot of fans' opinions in recent weeks. We spoke about him last week, even before the Old Firm game, and he scored those two. I think that might change the thinking in terms of needing an out-and-out number 9.
You think so?
But yeah, possibly. They've got Chermiti and Miovski.
Yeah, listen, but they both scored between them less than 10 goals this season.
They've spent 8 million on Chermiti. I mean, they're not going to just leave him sitting. They've obviously said, when they persist with this guy, look, he's coming good.
I thought he was good against Celtic. I thought second half, I thought he was really good against Celtic.
Actually, it wasn't until I watched it closer on the replay. His first goal was a better finish than you think. It looked at first glance at a tap in. Good finish. So there might be something in there. He's not the lost cause many thought. But I think in the final third, they do need, they were linked with Josh Windass obviously at the start of the window. I think somebody like that. That kind of.
What I mean,
maybe not an out number 9. But
listen, the Rangers want to be a kind of a progressive club that are signing players with talent, building them up and selling them on.
I'm not talking about him specifically.
Maybe
just but I'm just talking about that style of player. If not necessarily him. But it's clearly looking for a player like that.
I think you're right. I think Chermiti has showed signs. I thought St Mirren was good without looking like he was really going to score. Gets his goals against Celtic. I think the next two. I think you give him another fortnight, see if he does catch fire. Because Rangers in the fight. I mean, Danilo got 2 goals this season. Miovski 5 in all comps. Chermiti, what's that? He got 3 or something like that. No, I mean, not enough goals in that front line.
No, there's no.
So, and Kavanagh seems to identify it. So I still think a striker. I know they spent. I mean, they 3 cost about the guts of 15 million quid.
Oh, I know.
I think you get Danilo, somehow get him off the books and replace him with another striker, an up-and-coming striker who can supplement and maybe overtake the guys in front of him. But good luck finding it, because they're not cheap.
Good shout. January will be key, Michael, and could well decide who wins this title. It's an enthralling title race. We said there could even be as many as 5 in it. I don't know if you want to include Motherwell and Hibs, but who is your money on?
See, I keep flip-flopping in this one. I mean, you got to think that you look at Celtic and you think, okay, they've got Martin O'Neill back, they've got the resources to fix this. But then, so at the start of the week, I was thinking, I think Celtic became favourites for this purely because they've got the resources to go and make a difference. And O'Neill will simplify it. He needs a right winger, a striker, a centre half, and an extra striker. So 4 signings. I think Celtic get by on that, and I think they can run out of games, get results with the manager in charge. I think it wasn't working under Nancy. However, we're now at 10 days, 9 days into January. The signings aren't exactly flooding the door, and they're still waiting for the striker. They're waiting for Kyogo to phone back and all that stuff. I don't know this. I think there's so much hassle behind the scenes. I think Celtic, I don't think are going to get their house in order in time.
No,
I don't. I think I look at Hearts now, who have got a solid team. They're actually bringing in players now to replace the ones they signed, because they know they're going to get sold. Your Bragas, your Kyrgios and all that stuff. You get strikers coming in from Kazakhstan. I think Hearts seem to be not only
forward planning.
Hearts not only are Hearts in the lead. I mean, they're putting everybody to shame. They're actually now plotting for the next guys to come in. I see they're after a winger who's been tearing up in Macedonia, which I know we know about that. But this is where he finds these players. That's where Tony Bloom finds the magic. And you think, well, they're now buying guys to replace the guys that they're doing really well. So I think Hearts are going to take some shift. And I do think Hearts, though, when you look at the first half of the season, the first chunk of the season, the points,
they're not going to get back to that.
I think they're going to struggle to keep. I think the way they play is a bit. No, it's not chaotic, but the games are a bit. Not a lot. A lot of these games can go either way. And I think at some point they're going to have some results going to fall on the other side. I think now even
Livingston last week against Livingston.
I think they're going to hit a wee bump. But I think there could be some trouble ahead in that respect. I think you expect it. A lot of this squad were bottom of the league last year. McKinnon's done amazing to get them where they are. I now think, listening to Kavanagh as well. Now I've gone from Celtic to Hearts. I'm going to say Rangers.
Oh,
what you thinking?
that's unbelievable.
Quickly, the whistle's going to
I think if Hearts can win their next 2 games, I think Dundee on Sunday is absolutely massive. I think if they win that, it sets them up for the Celtic game. If they win those 2 and they're 9 clear of Celtic, I think Hearts could win it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rangers are lurking there, but I just don't
thing
know.
Is, Rangers are under. I mean, they've kind of been under the radar a wee bit until the last week or so, and they've kind of just kept up. Daniel Rowe's got a lot of points in the bag. Again, a bit like Hearts, though. A bit like Hearts. I don't think they're playing that great, and the games could have went either way. And there are 3 wee breaks here and there, but that's got them the momentum and got them the confidence.
Yeah.
He adds a few players.
Possibly.
I think they're going in a direction. I think are going to. I think they're the ones that are going to be the ones to watch.
It is fascinating, but listen. Last week we were talking about the points between top and 5th. We were saying you could even make an argument for a 5-horse race, but then you've come up with this question: can Motherwell finish in the top 4 or even higher? And that was despite them winning last week, 24 hours after we did the game on. So you're actually lowering. So you're lowering them. I'm pinning the blame on here. So you're saying top 4 is that?
It does say or higher.
Or higher.
It does say or higher.
Okay. Top 4, of course. Top 4.
If Motherwell finish in the top 4, that's an incredible achievement.
Yeah, it is.
You're talking. So if they finish behind, Rangers, Celtic, and Hearts, finish 4th. What a season that would be for them. I think they've got a chance.
In fact, and they're playing Hibs. What a game that is Saturday, Easter Road.
Mouth-watering. I think Hibs have been hit good form as well.
The thing that really impressed me about Jens Bertel-Askew is just how quickly he's managed to implement this thing. I know everybody's been raving about Motherwell this season. They have been, great to watch. Quite rightly, he's been, linked to other jobs. But it's the fact that, it was like we witnessed it with Nonce and then Russell Martin, the struggle of getting a style.
Yeah.
Like that.
Well, no, because he drew 6 draws in his first 7 games, remember?
Okay.
So he's unbeaten in his first 7 games, but 6 of them are draws. But you can see.
Oh, his opening game against Rangers, even in that opening game.
He didn't lose the game.
Yeah.
So you're thinking that you can see something here. You could see it right from like you say, from the start. I think he's got that across.
You were out talking to him, weren't you? Yesterday?
No, I wasn't actually. I got diverted.
Oh, sorry.
Celtic's ongoing carry on get me diverted.
All right.
So I missed a chance to get to see him.
Right. But he's an impressive. You listen to him speaking. He's just an impressive character, isn't he?
I wouldn't mess with him either. I must admit. I did the game Livingston when they kind of sneaked a win late on. Remember, come back and by the way again get a result. I think they deserved it second half display. They're a wee bit fortunate.
Yeah.
A couple of late goals. And he was talking. We asked him about half time. Because they were pretty bad the first half. Livingston did a good job on them, and he kind of, I said, was it a few raised voices and all that? And he said, the decibels were up and all that stuff, and you could tell. I thought, I wouldn't want to mess with this guy.
No.
Very impressive character. Team playing great football.
Yeah.
I think the way the league tables are now could be top 5 weights finishing. I think it could be.
Yeah,
it could be. I think Motherwell were right in that mix. It's the only thing is, what great about Motherwell is they've lost a few players and managed to keep it going. I mean, Masmanisi been away and all that stuff through injuries.
Oh, yeah.
Beat Celtic with no centre halves and no striker. So what do you think? I think they'll finish 4th. I'll go for it. Yeah, I think they'll finish 4th.
Yeah, I'll go 4th.
You go 4th. Hibs? 5th.
Yeah.
Right. So manager of the year, correct? Motherwell finish 4th. Manager of the year. Hearts win the league.
Well, it depends. If Hearts win the league, that's
Hearts win the league. It's a done deal, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially how Celtic Rangers are putting in about 5 candidates for manager. You'll have about 10 managers between them.
Yeah.
So no, we'll get to that. That was another question for a different week.
Yeah. I'll leave this next one to you.
Right. Right. We'll go north. Aberdeen. Again, like Nancy, Jimmy Tilleen, Scottish Cup winning manager is no more.
Yeah.
Obviously, Peter have been taking over during the week. The sporting director is a character, isn't he?
Yeah.
Fansteel.
What's
Fansteel? Fansteel, yeah. Popped up on the bench.
Yep.
At the weekend.
Yeah.
What did you make of that?
Midweek at Ibrox, yeah.
Midweek at Ibrox, sorry.
It didn't look good. I think actually it was probably.
He's a former manager, remember?
Yes, listen, yeah. It's because we're not used to seeing, I suppose, a sporting director appearing on the bench. But listen, the statement said he would be helping out.
Exactly.
So no great drama. I just think it's because we're not used to seeing it, and also the timing of the camera panning on him. It just looked like Peter leaving. It just looked a bit awkward. It looked as if Peter leaving actually wasn't even listening what he had to say, and I think that made it look worse. But listen, this is a guy who has been educating coaches all over the world at FIFA and the German FA and all that. That's his job. So, I mean, he's got a wealth of experience. So
he's been all over the world.
There's no issue with him being in there. It's just.
I wasn't surprised because I'd heard when I was doing a bit of research on Nancy in America, I talked to a few guys in America, and his name came up, and we're talking because he got the job at Aberdeen.
Yeah.
And apparently he did the same thing at St. Louis.
Is that right?
St. Louis. It's St. Louis or St. Louis? St. Louis.
St. Louis.
St. Louis. Did the same thing. He was sporting director there, and things were going wrong with the pitch, and he appeared on the bench. And occasionally we pop up on the bench there as well as sporting director. So he has that. He's done it before. So when I saw that, I thought that's quite funny. I've seen that before. Listen, he's quite a colourful character. He's not get in trouble for kidnapping a penguin.
That's right.
All this kind of stuff.
He refused to talk about that, didn't he?
I won't talk about it. But listen, I think it was. Listen, he's not a very, very big position at Aberdeen. He thinks he can help out. I get it, the optics. I know what you mean. Yeah. And we don't like guys interfering. I was at the game at Pittodrie when Ian Cathro was in charge. Right. And the note get passed down.
I was with you.
That's right.
I was right.
Remember that? It was Craig Levine's note.
That's right.
Down. And it said milk, bread, eggs, plain loaf. I remember that one. That caused a stir, didn't it?
That's right.
Yeah, but again, but Craig Levine, vast experience.
Exactly. Ian Cathro, inexperienced. Exactly.
Yeah.
Peter Levin, inexperienced in terms of managerial.
Yeah.
Well, managerial experience in comparison.
Yeah.
In comparison. Yeah. So no issue with it. I think we're agreed on that, but it didn't look good. But the German's main job, Michael, is to find a permanent successor for Jimmy Tillin. So who do you think you should go for?
I suspect it might be a wee bit left field because obviously, I mean, Van Steel's got a vast experience globally. I mean,
you see Uwe Rosser.
Uwe Rosser's an interesting one. So he's in a job and that club is doing quite well and they've got big support. Yeah. I think he's done really well there. A guy with loads of experience. I think he would be actually quite an interesting appointment.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, Gav, but you think there's quite a lot of options closer to home.
Totally. I'm with you.
The only thing is that if I'm a fan of Motherwell or St Mirren, two managers who are performing brilliantly in Scotland, Stephen Robinson and Askow, you think not use again because they keep coming. Aberdeen keep coming to St Mirren and Motherwell.
Well, exactly.
Well, get your own manager this time. Stop coming to the ball as. So if you're their clubs, I would say, we're not talking to you guys. The phone rings and you see that.
Yeah.
The dial code for Aberdeen, you'd be like, right, ignore it.
Yeah.
Is that too obvious? They too obvious?
No, to be honest, they would be. Well, they are the two obvious ones. But I actually think I would still look closer to home. But I think John McGlynn could be. I think John McGlynn could be. Yeah. Aberdeen really need a steady pair of hands. Wealth of experience, knows Scottish football, worked wonders at Falkirk. Teams are organised, disciplined. We've seen with Hearts the benefit of appointing someone in Derek McInnes, someone who knows the game.
Yeah.
Really knows Scottish football. But he's great at developing players. Good mix of pragmatism and also plays an attacking style. But what Aberdeen really need is to settle down. They need a bit of stability. This kind of fluctuating up and down. And I think that's what he would bring.
Do you know what? I disagree with you. I don't think Aberdeen needs stability.
No.
Because I think Aberdeen fans have been a wee bit bored. I think Jimmy Tillin kind of bored them. I know he won the Scottish Cup and that gave them he will never be forgotten for that. That day in the sun.
And the start to the season.
The start to the season. But for a calendar year outside out in the league. And then since the Cup win, Aberdeen have been, I don't know if you watched Aberdeen a lot, but they're really boring. I think if Aberdeen can get a guy in who's going to say, you know what, we're going to do the Motherwell thing.
Yeah.
We're going to play a certain way and get that fan base on their feet a wee bit because I think it's a bit boring. And you've got to take the cup and take it away, don't you? Because the cup was a kind of weird high point that nobody really expected it. Aberdeen getting thumped week in week out at that point, and Celtic thumped them for 5 2 weeks before the cup final.
That's right,
so nobody really expected it, and they did that, and they'll never need to buy a pint in Aberdeen again.
Yeah.
But I think Aberdeen fans could do a bit of excitement up there, especially during this time of year when there's 3 feet of snow up there now.
Yeah.
They could do a bit of heat.
One man who won't be linked with it is David Martindale because Livingston are rock bottom. Although he was linked with jobs of that, like when Livingston were flying high, he was getting touted for the kind of Hibs Hearts type jobs, and I think we discussed on here before whether his background was sort of holding him back. But anyway, a lot of people say he's actually lucky to be in a job now. Chairman came out and backed him recently with a statement. Does he have the safest job in Scotland?
I think he probably does. I think he probably does have the safest job in Scotland, and I also think quite rightly so. I mean, this is a guy who has metaphorically and literally built this club from the bottom up. Who helped. I mean, every step of the way he's been there, got them up to the top flight, got them performing top six in the top flight. Okay, they had a few bumps, and I know the ownership issues along the way, and they went down. I don't think anyone really expected them to come back up last season.
No.
To be honest with you, I think the feeling was that Livingston were going to probably start to kind of slide back down and find a kind of level, maybe bouncing in the bottom of the Championship to League One even, like maybe just sinking back down and finding its level.
Yeah.
However, I mean, Davey, a really competitive Championship, turned it around, got them up, which was an incredible job. Yeah, it's been a tough season, but I think it's been a tough season because I think they maybe didn't expect to be back up that soon. Maybe a bit earlier for them. So they are finding it hard going. What I would say is I've seen a bit of them this season, and bizarrely, that I don't think
they're as bad as.
Now we say the league team never lies.
Yeah.
I don't think it's reflective.
Yeah.
Every game I've seen Livingston playing, including against Celtic, including against Hearts and Motherwell and all these teams, I think they've been in the games. Yeah. And there's been small margins. Yeah. Weirdly for Livingston, the things they did well for years defensively has kind of lost them a bit. They've got a bit ragged defensively, losing by goals. It wasn't their style.
Yeah.
But I think David Martindale is, I think, even if they did go down, which now looks, I mean, they're slightly cut a draft a bit on them now, I think he's still the Mr. Livingston. I'd love to see him somewhere else, though. I'd love to see another club taking a look at him and saying, right, take your skills and apply them to this club. I think he's a really good coach, a good personality in the dressing room. I think it's worth a shot. But yeah, I think he's probably going to save his job in Scotland.
Did you read the chairman's statement backing him? No, it was good.
I thought it was great.
But I thought maybe David Martindale might have wrote it himself.
Well,
he certainly got the gift of the gab. He's a character, and that is what Calvin Ford said. He's contagious when he was going through the takeover. He was actually talking to the manager about the takeover. Yeah. So I can imagine him rubbing off on you like that.
He's in with the bricks right enough. I mean, that's the guy who's been literally helping build the stadium at times, getting the paintbrush and all that stuff. Did the whole lot. I'd love to see him. I'd love to see how he gets on in different environments.
Yeah.
But like I say, I think it is a safe job for him, and rightly so, isn't it?
It's like you think down south, guys. The one that actually was coming to mind was Dario Gradi at Crew. Remember, just there forever.
Yeah.
Just.
Yeah, but let's not go there. Finally, did you see one of these podcasts this week?
Yeah.
Henrik Larsson popped up. Yeah. I mean, not a guy who's a kind of, he admits himself, he's not a guy who likes to do a lot of media stuff. He's quite quiet.
But when he speaks, that makes it all the more interesting, isn't it? Yeah. When he does speak, you're hanging on to everyone.
I thought he was interesting.
It was good, yeah.
It was good.
And humorous at times. There was a bit of everything in there. You can tell as well. I mean, he's there in a sort of star-studded company, like guys like Roy Keane and Ian Wright, Neville. You could just even see he had them captivated, didn't he?
But it got us thinking. I mean, Larsson, obviously, he said himself, made his name in Scotland. He's always grateful to be playing here. But in terms of foreign imports, is he the best ever foreign import, or who are the others that are up there?
It's only, when it comes to that debate, there's only one of two. It's you're either in Larsson camp or the Brian Laudrup camp, I think.
Are they two out in front, you think?
I think so. Anybody else that you think could be?
I think in terms of overall success, I think it's hard to look past these guys. Yeah. Laudrup's a huge part of the Rangers 9 in a row, and I mean, Rangers fans will look back with, in awe. And this guy is a god figure, isn't he? Larsson, some of the numbers at Celtic, they quoted the numbers: 240 odd goals and 300 odd games. I think Ian Wright said this. Every time I watched a Celtic game, it felt as though he scored. And it's almost like, I did seem that way for that period.
Yeah.
The game was, he popped up a goal somewhere.
Larsson himself mentioned Roman Avcik as the best player, didn't he?
He did.
Which was really because the panel were saying, I take it Ronaldinho is the best. Interesting to mention Roman Avcik. I mean, incredible. It's incredible. Yeah. It got me actually looking back, and I know we did it at the time, but I started looking back at Moravcik. And I know he arrived at Scotland so late, and you were and I think Martin O'Neill might have even said at the time, where has this guy been?
Yeah.
He came to Celtic at 33, and you're thinking, such an incredible player, and then you're thinking he must have been somewhere, but like Saint-Etienne, he spent a lot of time at Saint-Etienne. He was in Slovakia, and then he goes to Saint-Etienne. He should have been somewhere for that talent. He should have been somewhere a lot bigger.
And every club's got the foreign guy who is the guy who they always look back. I mean, I'm thinking Russell Laudrup, another great player. Caniggia, Dundee, and all that. Frank Soze, Hibs.
Yeah,
these kind of guys. I mean, these guys. I mean, these guys like Soze had amazing careers.
Yeah,
and then came later on. But but do they count being as the best foreign players about to play in this country? Caniggia, World Cup,
winner.
No.
If we're talking about what they actually did when they were in Scotland,
that's the thing.
It's Laudrup or it's Larsson. The difficult with the debate is that they are, two very different styles. I mean, Laudrup was elegant and, gliding down the wing. Yeah. Larsson was a phenomenal goal scorer. I think for me, Larsson just edges it. I think because the other thing is he was there a bit longer as well. He was there for 7 years. But I just think his goal scoring record, for me, if you could have only had one at their peak, I think I would have had Larsson. I think. What was Laudrup's goal scoring record here? Actually,
they did score. I mean, Laudrup.
44 and 150. Larsson 242 in 313 games. But as I say, different kind of players. Yeah, but a joy to watch both.
We've had some. Had some big names through the years. I think you're right. I think every club though. I think Laudrup is a guy who's another one. I think the good one. But you look at I think Larsson's got to be the one. Look at the goals and the impact and all that stuff. And then listen, you get the fight. The Laudrup against Larsson, I think it's probably the one.
And then if we're talking about non-Scots, including because you would then throw in Gaza, Chris Sutton, our own columnist Chris Sutton would have to be in there.
Rudy Scatchell
and Mark Haley. Rangers.
Yeah, we're not counting. We're not counting English.
No,
we say foreign. We say a foreign import. We're saying foreign import.
Okay, that's fine. It's Larsson and Laudrup, and it's Larsson edging Laudrup.
And I'm going to put Scatchell in there, Laudrup, Caniggia, and who else we put in there? Frank Soze. Is it they called him like God or something like that?
I wouldn't argue with that.
Yeah.
No, such a good manager.
Well, we're back to where we started. With managers who don't really particularly last long in the job. But listen, we'll keep our tactics board for another week. We're still surviving. Thank you for watching as always. I say, Gav, I'm not sure about this view.
No.
This might be held up as motivation to.
It's not very flattering at all. Well, I certainly need it.
Well, that means there's no pie at the games this weekend for us. But you can catch us up as the usual socials. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Facebook, our podcast. As always, listen, fire in your comments, guys. We always appreciate them. Well, most of them. But we'll catch you again same time next week.